WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. And I have something from a new independent bottler, LongValley Selection Single Malt Scotch Whisky, aged 10 years, 2009, distilled at Glendronach, Distillery Speyside, first fill sherry butt, cask number 44, limited edition, 690 bottles. Distilled January 2009, bottled December 2019. In Scotland, for high spirit distribution from Switzerland, 58.1% ABV. And this is Whiskybase number 184432. Now, to be very, very honest, LongValley reached Germany in May of 2021, June. All right, so they put on a couple different bottles onto the market, and I only bought the Glendronach. Why did I only buy the Glendronach? Because it was a Glendronach. And then I started researching a little bit. I started looking a little bit. There's 2 or 3 little things that my spider sense tingled a little bit by this bottle. And I couldn't really figure out why or what was going on. First of all, you have 690 bottles going here from a sherry butt. That means there's 483 liters alcohol after 10 years. Only 17 liters of angel share is not very much. So the first thing I was going, is this really a full maturation in the first fill sherry, ex-sherry butt, or is it a finish? So in Scotland, you only have to talk about the last cask, so it could be a finish without mentioning it. But then I was like, okay, I went to the Whiskybase site, and then I scrolled down to the comments, and the first thing I see here is, looks like a rebottling / relabeling of this one. Tauti wrote on the 28th of May, one day before the, one day after this bottle was placed onto Whiskybase, and he put a link onto a different bottle, which is from Hart Brothers. Interesting enough, the bottle that I'm going to compare it to is a Hart Brothers Glendronach single cask. This is 12 years old. This was for dined whiskey in Germany. It's 57.5%. And then I looked at the data here, and it's identical. Not this bottle, but the bottle that actually was from Switzerland. It says here, sherry butt, 690, 58.1% ABV, distilled January 2009, bottled December 2019, Switzerland exclusive. So that means, if I'm right, I might be wrong, but if I'm right, LongValley, and if you look at the back of the bottle here, LongValley belongs to Lagertun Distilleries. AG just means Aktiengesellschaft, which means in English Inc. So Monsters Inc. is called Monster AG in German. So that means Lagertun, the distillery, the guys there, they bought these bottles, they tore off the Hart Brothers labels, they threw away the tube, and they placed their own labels on this. Not only with this bottle did they do that, they also did it with 3 other bottles that they put out on the market. So we have here a Belmenach from 2019 with 56.5%. There's an identical bottle for Hart only for Switzerland. They did it as well with a Dahluen, which was also 2019, 56.5%. Same thing, exclusive for Switzerland from Hart Brothers. Now, I have no problem whatsoever with cooperations. Where I do feel very, very cheated, and I'm going to use the word cheated here, is how I feel is when people try to pull one over on me. All right, so you take this and you turn it into this by getting rid of the label, putting your own label on, and go, ta-da, I'm a new independent bottler. Now, I must admit that LongValley is from Langenthal. Tal means valley in Switzerland. They do have some of their own barrels that they use to finish something. If you look at the information that I find online about them, it says here there was 3 whiskey enthusiasts from the company Langenthal. It was Andre, it was Mika, and it was Chris. And they actually take matured whiskey from Switzerland, and if necessary, they will actually put it into special casks for a certain time of finishing to make this this taste even better. And so they did have some of their original bottlings that they pulled out here were in something called, one second. Let's go to the Tanninic. It's called First Fill Chateau Oeuf de Papa Finish. I have no idea what that is. But that is a special cask that they use to pimp a Tanninic that was not up to par. Ah, the ones that they, from 2021, they actually had a tube. Let's see if I can find a different one with a tube. There's a Tulabadin. Is there a tube? Yes, there is. Very, very good. And the ones from 2019, my Glendronach and my Dalyuen, for example, do not have a tube. Ah, very, very good. Now, this label says here, okay, distilled and bottled in Scotland for high spirits distribution. I'm going to call them now liars. Because first of all, there was no high spirits distribution in the year 2009, so they could not have distilled that for that company. And I really don't think they bottled it in 2009 in December for them either. I think they bottled for Hart. So now, my question of the day is, do you know of any other examples of rebottling? Literally taking off labels, putting on new labels, and selling it as your own whiskeys. Now, I have talked with many persons here in Germany, and Scotch whiskey cannot leave the country without having a real label on it. Now, I have a few friends and a few colleagues that have their own independent bottlers in Germany, and what they do is, because of time issues or whatever, that they've actually had bottles in Scotland. They had a very pro forma label on there, which they took off and they put on their own, but it was their own bottles to begin with. And they had to relabel some things just to get them on the market in time. Ireland, same thing. I know some people who've actually taken Irish whiskey over here into Europe. It needs to leave the country with a real label on it for export, and then when you come to Germany, you can put your own fancy label on it. But you do not take other people's products, buy it, and then sell it as your own with a new label on it. Or do you know of any other cases like that? Ooh. All right, so this is dark, and so this is going to be the syrup sherry. This is weird sherry, and we have good sherry. Now, it's not really the case, not even good. Talking about labels, they are really easy to peel off here from Hart Brothers. Look at that. Oh, wow. So a little bit of water, you're gonna get this off in no time at all. Ooh. Is that actually part of the business plan of Hart Brothers at the moment? I don't know. Now it's going to bother people that the label is no longer sticking like it should. This label here is, let's see here if I can take this off. It's also fairly easy to pull off here. Okay, interesting. So, talking about labels today, I'm sorry. Good. So, on the nose, I get this typical sherry syrup moment. I get plum, and I get a little bit of oak, and I get a little bit of chocolate, a dark chocolate. On the nose, this is something I've smelled dozens of times in the last couple of years. The sherry syrup that is used here is okay. Over here, I get a funkiness. Every single time I did a video about this already. I do get orange marmalade, I do get oak, but I get a little bit of an umami moment. A little bit, for me, umami is also a little bit like instant Japanese soup. Or the chicken, instant chicken instant Japanese chicken noodle soup. Yep. I don't, maybe you've had that before. A cup of noodle you put in the water and that smell beforehand. All right. Not my favorite. Let's see if this is actually better. And as I mentioned, it's 58.1. Over here we have only 57.5. 12 years, 10 years. Do I know how many bottles I got out of this? I can take a look at my screen here. Oops, I need to take a look at my screen here. This had a 743. Wow. Even more. Okay. That can't be. So 7 times 0.7 is 520 liters. Definitely not matured for 12 years on a first fill sherry, but sorry. Hart Brothers, I think your transparency is lacking. I'm disappointed by LongValley, and for some reason, I'm even more disappointed by Hart Brothers. You can't get 520 liters of alcohol normally out of a sherry butt that has been used for 12 years. Just not physically possible. So that was a finish. Do your math sometimes, people. All right, cheers. I forgot how hot this is. This is burn your tongue, taste buds hot. I diluted this down in my German video down to about 43%. It was still hot. This is not something I particularly love. Very, very interesting for me is that this whiskey is rated fairly high at Whiskybase. We have 16 people who voted at the moment. Only 2 people have written comments, and one says, hey, look, it's a rebottling. And they put it up over 16, with 16 votes, almost 88 points, which I just don't get. Let's put a water in here. Let's try it again. Sweet. Artificial cherries instead of plum now. It's not really doing it for me. I'm going to give this bottle a C minus. Value for money. I don't think this is actually worth the 94 euros that they're looking at. 94 euros is a lot. This over here was 80 some euros, so this is almost 10% less. Both of these are way overpriced in my personal opinion. I don't think they're worth the money, but hey, first fill sherry cask number 44. Both of these probably have been finished, and both of these were probably originally bottled for Hart Brothers. Over here. Yep, that chicken noodle soup moment from the very beginning. A little bit of water in here. Now I have another conspiracy theory. Last one. Why did Glendronach give up this cask and this cask? The name of Glendronach is on here. So if there were a bad cask that didn't fit in the flavor profile of Glendronach, either before by Billy Walker or later by Brown-Forman, they changed ownership, by the way, it will damage the name Glendronach. So my conspiracy theory is that Billy Walker, before he sold the company, gave up some of the bad casks with the right of the name, because he's like, hey, I don't care. It's not my distiller anymore. My distiller is Glendronach. Do what you want. Take the brand name with you. Is that feasible? Is that actually something we could think that happened? Because he was the owner of the distillery. He could sell it off to whoever he wants to, and Brown-Forman could not come back and say later on, hey, in the contract, we're going to make your contract nullify it. Nope. They can say, hey, contract says we can use the name, and that's what they could do. So maybe that was a little bit of a tactical move here from Billy Walker before he sold the distillery, getting some of those bad casks out there with the brand name Glendronach. That's evil thinking, isn't it? All right, little bit of water. A different type of whiskey. A little bit of sulfur. Orange peel. I like this better. This is almost a C. This is C minus, value for money. This is a C minus minus, D plus. All right, so it's more about the conspiracy theories today than it is about the whiskey. So sorry, you came for the whiskey. You stayed for the drama. WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. One of 690, one of 743. So who knows what's going on here in the whiskey world? I don't understand everything. Thank you. Like, subscribe, tell others about this crazy guy over here in Germany trying to understand what's going on in the whiskey world. Bye-bye.